Happy Monday, messengers. I hope you are doing well. Yes, I know it's not Wednesday. It's not 1 o'clock. Jonathan, what are you doing? I'm sure that's what some of you are thinking as you pop in. And I didn't schedule this, it is totally organic. We're going to catch whoever's here. And by the way, if you popped in and you just saw Jonathan, you're live, then let us know that you're here and that you're watching so we can say hello to you. So we're doing something really, really special all this week. And basically, we are calling it the Insider Showcase. Real people, real results, real stories of people who are in the trenches in their online business and they're working on building it. We have people all different levels. Some people are at the beginner, some are intermediate, some are a little bit more advanced. But I wanted to highlight stories because here's the thing, as somebody who's constantly working with messengers, I get front row seat to the amazing stories, the amazing businesses that people are building. And you, quite frankly, don't get to see that like I get to see it. And so today I want to give you a front row seat. We're going to be bringing on an interview here very, very soon. And I'm going to be popping in and doing this all week long. I think we've got 9 or 10 people that we're going to be interviewing. And who are these people? These are not people who are considered, well known as of yet out there in the space. So it's not like, we're bringing in the big guns. I want you to hear from real people doing real things, getting real results. People who, quite frankly, they have just started from scratch and they have been working on their businesses, some for a few years, some for a few months. But here's the thing. We are going to be featuring people that are right here in this community. So you're going to get to hear and listen from people who are where you are. They've been where you've been. And at the same time, they are taking action. So I host something that is called Insider. This is kind of my private mastermind where I'm working with a small group of people, helping them to build and grow their business online, whether they want to blog or podcast, do YouTube videos, live streaming. And so what I want to do is I wanted to share their stories with you. So that's what we're doing. I see we've got Paul here. Welcome, Paul. Brianna is here. Glad that you got to pop in for a little bit. So these interviews are going to be fun. They're going to be action-packed. Be ready to take notes because you're going to hear from people across all different parts of the spectrum, doing all different kinds of things, all different kinds of audiences, and you're going to walk away with plenty of ideas this week. So if you are watching over on YouTube, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. That way you're notified when I'm going live with these interviews this week and you won't miss any. If you're on Facebook, just hit the like page as well. So with that, I'm going to bring on the first interview we're going to do today. And this is Marisa Shadrick, and I'm going to let her introduce herself. So let me bring Marisa on right now. Marisa, I think you're here.
Hello, Jonathan. Oh, how fun this is. Thank you for having me today.
Yeah, this is fun conversation, and I've known you for a few years. I'm so excited to have you on, and people are going to learn a lot from what you've been up to, your story, your knowledge and expertise. And this is just two people having conversation, and we're just letting people
Yeah,
in on our talk today. So I'm really excited about
I
this.
love
But
it.
let's start, Marissa, by telling people a little bit about where you're from, who you serve, your
Absolutely.
business. Let's start there.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm Marisa Shadrick. I live in nice, hot Las Vegas. And I started my journey about 10 years ago. And I love to serve people. I have a ministry background of over 30 years. And one of the things in ministry is communication. And writing always seemed to be something that attracted me to be able, another form of communication. And so I basically help people now with their communication skills, primarily with copywriting and marrying that with strategy online. And so sometimes it comes up, the speaking, but writing is the real strong arm to everything.
Awesome. And sorry, we had a little glitch on my end, but it was not you. It was all me. I'm pushing buttons I shouldn't be pushing. So this is
Oh, okay.
live. So if anybody was just wondering what just happened there, that was me not pushing the right button. But that's awesome. And I have noticed that about you, and it's funny because I've gotten to know you for a couple years now, and it's like it's hard for us sometimes to see where we show up best for others, but
Right.
it's as we get on future years, and as the years go along, it's easier for us to like look backwards and see, oh, and so I could absolutely see like communication. Like when I first met you,
Right.
you were, and yeah, you still have the speaking side, but like the speaking side was what you were known for at the time, right?
Yes.
And then you
Yes.
started like honing in on, well, what is it about the speaking? It's about the communication of words, and then it was the
Right.
fascination of words, and then now it's, wait, people need help with communicating. And whether you're doing that in person at an event or you're doing it on a sales page, I can see where, even though maybe for you it's felt like a little bit of a journey to kind of figure it out, it's
Hmm.
kind of
Right.
been there in plain sight all along, wouldn't you say?
It was, but it's not always easy to see. I know from a ministry background, communication was critical with people and how you communicate with people. And I found myself some years back homebound because I was taking care of my dad who had dementia. And so during those years, I decided to dive in a little deeper and just start writing. Just start writing. And that's when I got published in an international magazine. And back then it was different. Back then you had to go to a writers' conference to even get in front of publishers so they would even publish your article and get maybe $300 for it, right? So it was a different day back then, but that's kind of where I cut my teeth because I wrote every single week on my blog for 5 years, just writing because I was home and ministry kind of changed the way it looked. I was no longer at a physical location. I was home taking care of my dad 24/7. And so within that time, that's when I became more interested in the whole online space. Because once you write, how do you get it out there, right? How do you get people to see it and to read it? So, yeah, it all started back then with the writing.
Yeah, and I love that because all of us are coming to this from different places. And for you, it was that passion of doing some writing. You were looking for ways to probably earn some income online. I know for me it was I was doing some guest posts, and then I submitted a couple articles to this website that paid $50 for every article that you wrote. And then I'm like, okay, how many can I write? And they're like, you can write unlimited articles. So that's where I started, just started writing. And then I was like, I kind of enjoy this. Maybe there's another way to do this. And I started looking and figuring out how to do a blog. So it's neat to hear how, from where you started to a little bit more where you're at. And what's interesting, what I know about your story is you started with writing, like you were talking about, articles, things like that. And then now today, fast forward, I mean, you have figured out how to do webinars. You even do live streaming. So this isn't new for you, being on a live stream. Podcasting has been something as well that you've been in the works with. So
Yes.
I know I'm going off script here a little bit, but I just want people to see this from somebody like yourself who you got into this not knowing how to do any of this. So
No, not at all.
can you talk about that journey a little bit for somebody who may be intimidated by webinars and live streaming and recording videos and just all the stuff?
Yeah, the problem in the beginning is you don't know what you don't know. You don't even know what questions to put in Google because you just don't know. And so that was a big problem for me is knowing where do I start and how can I find information that's credible, information that will give me, something that's foundational, not just a fad, not just something that's, a flash in the pan right now and that is just something a fad. I wanted structure. I wanted systems. I wanted to understand the process from beginning to end. And so that was the hard part, because there's a lot of stuff out there, and you spend a lot of money and you go to conferences and things like that, and then you find yourself 12 months later in the same spot. So you're not moving
Yes.
forward. So that can get discouraging. And then after I started blogging, I went back into ministry for a short amount of time. I help people with startups, and in ministry, that's a lot of where I focus with startups. And they were starting an academy. And so I worked there. And so when I came back to continue my online work, I had to rebrand, because I had a whole new different direction. I had a desire, after I stepped down from formal ministry, to really go deeper in the writing. And that's when I started really investigating copywriting and looking at that, because copywriting doesn't have to be salesy. Copywriting is just being able to communicate something very clear to a right audience, target audience, and be able to share what you know, your knowledge, your goodness, all of the things, that your skills, your experience, in a way that you can package it and put it in front of people that it will resonate with. And so the copywriting became a big piece of it. And that's when I became a certified copywriter, Ray Edwards certified copywriter, in 2019, right about the time I was rebranding.
Yeah, and what I love about this story, and this is the lesson for everybody watching, is that oftentimes you don't just wait to get clear. You have to just get started. And
Oh, yeah.
it's okay if you do iterations. In fact, your whole journey is going to be a series of iterations. And sometimes it feels like one step back to go three steps forward. And that's okay. It's like, I had to
Yes.
finally get used to that I didn't have to get clear first before I'd started. It's like I got clarity as I started. So like clarity comes from the movement that you're taking. And I think for so many of us, that's a lesson that maybe we feel like we have to wait. And no, you kind of start before you're ready in a way. And I know that scares some people, but you kind of get started before you're ready, and then you start figuring things out as you get going. And that's totally okay.
Yes, nothing. I mean, that is so true. It's the analogy is, you can't steer a car when it's standing still. It has to be moving. Even if it's moving slowly, you can steer it left or right. But if it's just standing still, you can't steer it. And so I just got into motion, saying, you know what? Every time I try something new, I'm going to learn from this experience. Serving people along the way. So it's always a win, right? If you're serving people, if you're providing value, if you're helping them, it's a win. The rest is a bonus. So I just continued on, and I'm getting ready to launch my podcast, which I'm really excited. But again, it was a journey of taking a step and then going deep, rather than, for a while there, I was just trying something and then trying something else. But again, like you said, there's a learning curve of tweaking. And sometimes if something doesn't convert well, it's not because your offer is awful. It's because maybe the headline just needs tweaking, or maybe you're not putting it in front of the right people. So you have to kind of stay with it for a little bit of time, at least in my experience, to be able to see, the kind of results that you want to see. And that takes patience, and you just got to trust the system, and you just got to be brave about it and do it. I wrote 5 years, Find Your Brave. So I wrote a lot about overcoming fear. That was kind of some of the topics that I talked about when I speak, is just to overcome some of those insecurities, some of those things that keep you from trying new things, and being okay with failing forward at times, because you will come out ahead in the end.
Yes, good, wise words. So, one of the things we're doing this week is we're showcasing insiders, people that are in our program, and we're going to try to showcase as many as we can. We're not going to be able to showcase all of them. I wish we could just light them all up, but we'll try to get in as many as we can. And full disclosure, what's interesting about Marisa is she came into the Insider program. If you guys don't know what that is, that's my private mastermind where me as a mentor, and then I have a team of coaches that help us to help people, frankly, get further faster. We want to help people who have a message get their message heard. And Marisa entered into the program much like most people would, just coming in as a student wanting to learn. And I reached out to Marisa and I said, listen, I saw a need to have Marisa as one of our coaches because of her copywriting background. I thought this would be a great benefit. So Marissa's serving in two different capacities as we talk here today. One of them is I want to talk about Marisa as you were thinking about coming into Insider, because a lot of times it's like we don't know what it's like on the inside, no pun intended, but we're trying to figure that out. And then maybe we'll talk a little bit later about you and your role that you serve now as a coach. But can you talk about kind of go back and talk about before deciding to enroll in Insider? What was the single biggest skepticism or hesitation that you had?
I think my hesitation when I commit to something, I want to give it my all, right? And at that time, I was already certified as a copywriter, but I was in an extended program. It was a 12-month program with monthly assignments, and it was very intense. And so I didn't know if I could put the time into Insider, but what I realized was that Insider provide it almost, if you marry copywriting, you marry everything you learn with Insider, it would have gotten me further along had I done it sooner, because it helps you with the everyday things that you're doing with your business. It gets in the trenches with you to be able to get the questions answered. I mean, there's nothing like community, and there's nothing like having a mentor. And so in retrospect, the time involved in Insider was so doable for most people on most schedules that I should have done it sooner, because I could couple it even with the program that I was already in, and it would actually have helped me with some of the product launches and some of the webinars and some of the things I was doing. So in retrospect, I think I waited too long.
Well, and I think that's really good insight for people because you're right. There's a lot of programs out there that help you do a specific thing, and those are great. There's nothing wrong with those. You know, I have friends of mine, they help people self-publish their book on Amazon, and I've got other people that help them learn something else. You know, like you mentioned with Ray
Mhm.
Edwards with copywriting. I think what's unique about Insider is what we do in Insider is like the brass tacks, nuts and bolts. It's not sexy. It is the work. It is learning how do I figure out what my message is. And then once I do, how do I actually launch this website, all this stuff that I don't understand, right? All this technology. And then how do I actually market the thing that I want to talk about? And so it's very much like nuts and bolts, roll up your sleeve, kind of do the work, nitty gritty type stuff. It's not as always as
Right.
fun. It's like, oh, I got to roll up my sleeves and actually got to commit to doing some work and working on my business. And I think it's a great analogy because I think for some people, they might be like, well, I'm doing this. But the truth is, this will complement anything that you're doing out there
Yes,
because it's going to help you with the platform and audience building piece. That is the piece
absolutely.
everybody needs. More leads, more sales, figuring that out.
Yeah, because you're working on it anyway. So this will help you in a very practical way. In fact, it will speed up the process because everyone needs to know how to position themselves in the market. They need to create content. They need to become visible online. They need to be able to grow their community, and they need to be able to promote their products and services. And so that's something, a given that you're doing anyway. Why not have somebody come alongside you, mentor you, help you, answer the questions, and save you time in the long run? So that was an error on my part, but I'm glad I'm here now.
Well, we are glad you are here as well. And let's talk about this for a second because it's not really, I kind of gave Marissa an outline, but Marissa she can roll with the punches here. As a coach in helping other insiders, what are you most excited about? Like what just like gets you excited?
I deep down, I'm excited for people to create positive change online on the internet. The internet is one of the last voices that an average person like myself can say something positive or provide a service or an insight or an experience or something that will help someone answer a problem, solve some problem or answer a question. And I think it's time for all hands on deck. I take it very personally because I think that many of us have great messages, they have great ideas, they have great reasons for why they want to be on the internet, and they have an opportunity. The internet is free. right? The internet is something that we can leverage to help people to create positive change. And boy, do we need it today, right?
Mm.
The world needs positive influence. And that gets me excited that people that are in Insider are going to be able to do that with just the help of the coaches and you mentoring and the products that they have and so forth that they have accessible. They're going to be able to make that change. We need positive influencers online. So that's my personal take on it.
Yeah, and it's so exciting to be a part of that, right? We get to influence the influencers of tomorrow. And how exciting is that that we get to be a part of that? And that's fun. It's fun to be able to do that where we get to influence that future influencer. Can you give a specific example of an aha moment or a breakthrough you've had that's made like a big impact? And maybe you've already kind of talked about it, but maybe not. Is there any kind of big aha moment or something that really impacted your thinking on your
I
business
think
or life?
just realizing that writing was the core to everything for me. And part of it was through Insider, part of it was through the live event that you had, I think in 2019 that I attended. But being able to stay in that lane and not, I mean, you talk about this a lot, not to get distracted, focused work and just staying in that lane of focused work. And since then, I mean, that to me was huge because focused work is what gets everything done, right?
Mm.
We can be so distracted with things. And I think part of the insider is that accountability too, to make sure that you stay focused on what you're trying to do. But for me, knowing that writing was a big part of it, knowing it that I needed to have that focus work. And I just look at work as either it's list building work, it's content creation work for products and services. So it's list building, or you're selling, or you're doing admin. So when you have lots of things going on in your head, put it in the right bucket and then work on the things that are going to move the needle for you. But I think that helped me to get clarity as far as who I am, how I show up, and a lot of it has to do with the writing.
That's awesome. And I think about like what Donald Miller talks about in his book Business Made Simple. He talks about focus work is like allowing yourself to actually get over in the fast lane, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
over in the slow lane is all that admin work. It's I mean sometimes we have to get in the slow lane to like deal with that, but you got the interruptions over there, you got the things that are slowing you down. But when you identify what your fast lane is and you carve out time for it, like for you it's writing, and you can get over and do that, that's where the magic happens. And that's so cool that and
Yes.
I remember, I'll never forget because I remember that event because you were pretty much sitting on the front row and I had everybody take that influencer assessment. And I remember
Mm-hmm.
you looking at me going, Jonathan, the way that this is shaking out is like writing is my thing. And for this longest time, I kept thinking that speaking was kind of the main thing. And not that you can't be a great speaker too, but it's like, where is the motivation, like the core motivation lie? And I remember that moment for you. And I could just see that your face was just lit up at the thinking about the new potential possibility of what that could look like.
Oops, you cut out a little bit, but
Uh,
yeah, I thought my journey was more in the speaking realm because I had won that international speech competition, and I realized then, no, the writing was a huge part because think about it, the writing is what's going to help you sell your products and services. The writing is what helps you create a keynote. The writing is what helps you write a blog post. Writing everything, even for a live stream, I have notes. I write out what I'm going to be able to say so that I can go in and out and make sense of the topics that I'm going to talk about. So writing basically is a real strong prose.
yeah, that could be just on my end. I'm not sure. But I got the last part of that. So awesome.
Okay, good.
Hey, we're live. We're just rolling with it, right? We could just recorded this and then put it up there, but this is the part of fun of just being here on the internet. I'm in Florida and you're in Las Vegas, and the fact that we can do this and not have more interruptions is pretty amazing.
I know.
All right. So What if somebody, let's say somebody's watching this right now, or they're watching the replay later, and they're just kind of on the fence. Like, I've heard a little bit about Jonathan and his team and insiders, but I'm just not sure if this is for me. Should I apply? Should I check this out? What would you say to that person right now who's kind of on the fence?
I would say everyone needs a mentor and everyone needs community because we can become so isolated working behind a screen all day long. And again, doing that focused work without the community, without learning on a weekly basis and having those accountability calls, it's hard. You could do it in all honesty, but if you want to save time, if you want to save money in the long run, because we can get distracted on this new thing and that new thing, it's better to just, if you're serious, just lock into a community that's going to give it all to you. So that will help you move faster. And eventually, then you'll be a mentor and you'll have maybe a community that you can serve and you can help.
Well said. I mean, if there's a mistake I made early on, it was trying to just do it all myself and not being willing to get a mentor, because
Mm-hmm.
mentoring is the great accelerator. And I believe that because it just, you go further faster. It helps you just focus. Otherwise, you're just exploring options. But when you get a mentor, the mentor says more than just what to do, a mentor tells you what not to do. And that just brings such great clarity and focus to getting things done. And I know for me, I still pay for programs where I'm being mentored. It's important to have that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything else you'd like to share? Something maybe we didn't talk about that you have the floor right now, something from the heart, just something you want to share?
I think for those that might be on the fence, they might be more on the fence, not about the program, but about themselves. Because
Hmm.
I know some people may really have issues with just a little bit of mindset and believing that they're worth the investment, and they are. They are worth the investment. And this is not something that you need to be a high tech. These are skills that you can learn. So anyone can learn this. So if you think, oh yeah, this is great for this person or that person, but not for me, it probably won't work for me. It will, because the process is set to set up people for success. And it's step by step. It meets you where you are and it helps you grow. So a lot of people could believe in the program, but they may not believe in themselves. And I'm saying today, believe in yourself. You can do this.
Yes. Good words. I love it. So what's next for you? What's coming up 2021? Anything specific you're working on right now?
I'm working on my podcast. I got my Roadcaster and I've been scheduling interviews and I'm getting ready to launch it very, very soon, like within the next 3 weeks or so. So I'm excited about that. That's going to be another piece of content that I'm going to provide for people is the podcast. I blog a couple of times a month, but I mostly do my live stream weekly. But it'll be great showing up that way. It's long overdue.
I love it. And you're going to be great at it for sure. Well, where can people connect with you online?
They could just go to my website, which is my name, marisashadrick.com. I have a free digital marketing strength assessment in there. There's a little quiz you can take, 9 questions, and I'll let you see what your strength is, whether it's video or audio or writing. So you'll be able to take a little assessment and see where you fall.
Awesome. Well, Marisa, thank you for sharing your story, your experience, a little bit of your journey with us today. And I know we love having you in the Insider program. You know, first as a student, now as one of our coaches, which is a great add to our community. So, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Jonathan. Take care, everybody.
Awesome. Did you guys enjoy that interview? I hope that you did. Marisa is awesome. And maybe you're wondering, Jonathan, tell me more about this insider. What is it? Well, this is a private mastermind that we run. And as of today, starting today, for the next few days, we're going to be opening up some spots. So we've added some more coaches. We've moved into a new online community portal. It's a private portal where we can take on a few more students. And I'd love for you to be a part of our private mastermind. It's called Insider. And just like a quick overview, this is a quick 30-second overview, it's really got 4 pillars to it. And we've really designed this to help you, whether you're starting from square one all the way to your a little bit more advanced. So over on the left, you're going to see the situation-driven mentoring. So we do bi-weekly Q&A calls. That's where you can ask me anything. We also have some of our coaches, Roxanne with technology. We have Jody as our director of coaching, some other coaches who run those Q&A calls. We do other types of mentoring along the way. The systems-driven mentoring is really about the step-by-step roadmap. And we have a step-by-step system that you can go through, and we know where everybody in Insider is on the levels of discover their message to launching their platform all the way to marketing their message. Then we also, number 3 is we put you in a community-driven mentoring. Well, what's that? We put you into a mastermind depending on what level you're at. So if you're at the very, very beginning, we have a Discover Mastermind where you can be with other people in their online business right from the beginning, all the way to more advanced marketing. You say, Jonathan, I've been doing this for a while. I just want to get to the next level. We have a mastermind for that. And then the bonuses of being a part of Insider is you get access to everything I've ever created. Yes, you get access to all of my courses, everything, as a way to help supplement your education. And literally what we tell people is when you join Insider, your search is over because we have everything that you need. From a mentor, I've now been doing this for over 11 years, hard to believe, to our coaches. So my team becomes your team. So like Marisa today, you need copywriting suggestions or help. She's available to give you insight. You need tech help. Roxanne, who's my integrator, who works for me in my business, becomes your tech person that can help you. Jody and many of the other coaches that we have in the program are there to help you as well. So if you're curious at all, we have a real simple process. All you have to do is go to marketyourmessage.com/insider. And right now we are opened up for applications. So all you need to do is put a $100 refundable deposit, answer a few questions, come do a call with us, kind of a strategy call where we look at where you are, explain the program to you. And if you decide to join, that $100 will get applied to your enrollment. And we have options from one pay all the way to multiple payment plans, whatever works best for you. And come join us. Enroll for a year and let's make things happen. So if you would like my help to build and grow your business, you want to go to marketyourmessage.com/insider and we will tell you more about the program. If you get on the call and you decide, you know what, this isn't the right time, right place, this isn't right for me, we will refund that $100 application. So with that, thank you guys for being here. Thank you to Paul and Brianna, and I see Maya's here. Michael, who's one of the insiders. I know Michael's in there as well. Raglan, thank you for being here. Thank you guys so much for being here. We'll be doing several more of these interviews. So again, make sure that you, if you're watching over on YouTube, subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you are notified when next time we go live. Also, if you're over on Facebook, make sure to like the page. If you're in one of the groups, nothing really to do. It will just pop up, let you know that I'm live. All right, that's it for now. Again, if you're at all curious about working more closely with me to help build and grow your business, go to marketyourmessage.com/insider. All right, guys, take care. Have an awesome day. We'll talk to you again very soon. Bye-bye.